Hey, what's up, guys? You're now listening to Devo with Uncle Theo. Today is day 174, and we're covering Job chapter 34 through 37. And as you know, last time we picked up with the fourth friend, Elihu. And it's interesting because he doesn't take the side of Job's poor counselors, his friends, and he doesn't take Job's side either. But he also doesn't get Job fully right as well. And we'll see that more today. So Elihu picks up in chapter 34. Hear my words, you wise men. Listen to me, you men of learning. For the ear tests words as the tongue tastes food. Let us discern ourselves what is right. Let us learn together what is good. Job says, I am innocent, but God denies me justice. Although I am right, I am considered a liar. Although I am guiltless, his arrow inflicts an incurable wound. Is there anyone like Job who drinks scorn like water? He keeps company with evildoers. He associates with the wicked, for he says, there is no profit in trying to please God. So listen to me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God to do evil, far from the Almighty to do wrong. He repays everyone for what they have done. He brings them what their conduct deserves. It is unthinkable that God would do wrong and the Almighty would pervert justice. Who appointed him over the earth? Who put him in charge over the world? And so it's interesting here because Elihu basically, his approach is to cite what Job has said earlier and previously and respond to his complaints. But he's all over the place a little. Sometimes he gets Job right, he quotes him. Sometimes he misrepresents Job, and sometimes he even attributes to Job words that his three friends had said. I don't know if you caught it, but he misrepresents Job where he says, I am without transgression, though I am guiltless. And Job never confessed to be sinless, but he did confess to be innocent. Even in verse 9, where he says, there is no profit in pleasing God. This wasn't Job's heart, but even in the midst of that, Elihu's desire to bring glory to God, to exalt him, to speak about his glory and his sovereignty and how he will always guarantee to punish evildoers for their wickedness. He continues in chapter 35. Do you think this is just? You say, I am in the right, not God. Yet you ask him, what profit is it to me? And what do I gain by not sinning? I would like to reply to you and to your friends with you. Look up at the heavens and see. Gaze at the clouds so high above you. If you sin, how does that affect him? If your sins are many, what does that do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? And what does he receive from your hand? Only wickedness affects humans like yourself, and your righteousness only other people. And Elihu continues in verse 9. He says, people cry out under a load of oppression. They plead for relief from the arm of the powerful, but no one says, where is God, my maker? Who gives songs in the night? Who teaches us more than he teaches the beasts of the earth and makes us wiser than the birds of the sky? He does not answer when people cry out because of the arrogance of the wicked. Indeed, God does not listen to their empty plea. The Almighty pays no attention to it. So Elihu is saying, even people like Job who are maintaining their innocence, and when they're suffering even innocently, they still never find a way to maintain their trust and hope in God. And he calls in verse 12 that this failure of not trusting is arrogance. And he calls Job's pleas empty and basically meaningless talk, and says that God is not paying attention to that. And he continues for two more chapters. These are the last two chapters, 36 and 37, and we'll actually finally hear God speak. And so Elihu knows we're getting weary. He says, bear with me a little longer, and I will show you that there's more to be said in God's behalf. I get my knowledge from afar. I will ascribe justice to my maker. Be assured that my words are not false. One who has perfect knowledge is with you. God is mighty, but despises no one. He is mighty and firm in his purpose. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted their rights. He does not take his eyes off the righteous. He enthrones them with kings and exalts them forever. So this is Elihu's fourth and final plea. And I know you're probably starting to get weary, just like we did with the other three friends. But he's finally wrapping up. He says, the godless in heart harbor resentment. Beware of turning to evil which you seem to prefer to affliction. God is exalted in his power. Who is a teacher like him, who has prescribed his ways for him, or said to him, you have done wrong? Remember to extol his work, which people have praised in song. All humanity has seen it. Mortals gaze on it from afar. How great is God beyond our understanding. The number of his years is past finding out. And so Elihu is starting to speak some similar statements to his friends, telling him to turn from evil. But what Elihu doesn't know is in Job chapter 1, God calls Job righteous and a blameless man. But Elihu wraps up in chapter 37. He says, at this my heart pounds and leaps from his place. Listen to the roar of his voice, to the rumbling that comes from his mouth. He unleashes his lightning beneath the whole heaven and sends it to the ends of the earth. After that comes the sound of the roar. He thunders with his majestic voice. When his voice resounds, he holds nothing back. God's voice thunders in marvelous ways. He does great things beyond our understanding. He says to the snow, fall on the earth, and to the rain shower, be a mighty downpour, so that everyone he has made may know his work. He stops all people from their labor. He says, listen to this, Job. Stop and consider God's wonders. Do you know how God controls clouds and makes the lightning flash? Do you know how the clouds hang poised? How wonders of him who has perfect knowledge? Tell us what we should say to him. We cannot draw up our case because of our darkness. Should he be told that I want to speak? Would anyone ask to be swallowed up? Now no one can look at the sun, bright as it is in the skies, after the wind has swept them clean. Out of the north he comes in golden splendor. God comes in awesome majesty. The Almighty is beyond our reach and exalted in power. In his justice and great righteousness, he does not oppress. Therefore, people revere him, for does he not have regard for all the wise in heart? And so that's it from Elihu. He challenges Job to think about the power of God from nature, from the universe. How would you dare draw up your case against him? What kind of defense will you have before God? So basically, even Elihu desires and has rebuked Job in order to shame him. But hey, what do you guys think? Who's right? Do you like what Bildad had to say? Do you like what Zophar had to say? Do you like what Eliphaz had to say? Or do you like the four discourses of Elihu? Or are you saying, let's just get it over with? I want to hear God speak so I can know the truth and know what to follow. And remember, we talked about this before, but I want to warn you, the book of Job is very tricky. So we don't need to run to this book just grabbing verses to memorize and apply, because these people are giving bad counsel. And so if you don't read this book like we're doing and walk through this book in its entirety, and you just swoop down and grab a verse, you could be grabbing a bad verse that you shouldn't obey, or a way that you shouldn't think about God or humanity, because sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. And so you have to go through this carefully in order to engage in good hermeneutics and get the right meaning out. But hey, one thing we know for sure, tomorrow God speaks in chapter 38, and we can take all of his words as true and sure. Look forward to catching his voice with you tomorrow. You guys take care and catch you next time.